Not for beginners! If you are, check out New Boston number 58. Everything in C is passed by value. Unlike C++, the reference abstraction is not part of the C language. It can be emulated, however. For clarity, I'm going to call this an E-reference. Here, an E-reference to an integer passed to a function. Here, an E-ref to a string. Running the code, you can see that the integer has changed and the string has changed. You should know what's in this function and what's in this function without me showing you the code, because this is not a tutorial on implementation. This is a tutorial on detecting if something is a valid reference or not. To detect a valid E-reference for a value, we'll make sure that the E-reference is not null, because a reference must never be null. To check for a valid E-reference to a pointer, we do the same thing as before. Make sure the E-ref is not null. Then we dereference once and make sure that value is also not null, because a reference must point to a valid object in memory. This is called pointer to a pointer, even though it's just a void pointer, because I don't want to recast every single time I call this function. We'll then cast to the appropriate type right here, and then we'll use this to do everything we need. Here's modifies the integer and modifies the string. Check out the New Boston tutorial if you don't know what these lines I'm highlighting do. Here are some examples of failure commented out. Comment them back in if you want to see what they do. I'll give you the source code if you ask for it. My code isn't perfect, however. For example, if we forget to initialize this to anything, this reference will be valid, but it will be pointing to junk data. When we do this check, we won't get an error, and then if we try to write to this, we'll get a memory stomp. To avoid problems like that, it would be wise to always initialize to null if you're not going to put anything there. That'll fix the problem, and now this will detect a problem. For example, let's save this. And I'm going to clear the screen and run the code again. And there you go. We see that there is a failure right here.